Now that we've looked at my initial test map, it's time to have a look at the map that I constructed for this mission. Now unfortunately I only spent maybe 5 or 6 hours building this map, and I'm not going to argue with you, it is pretty crap. I'm not 100% sure why the water down here is such a fluorescent aqua colour, and the trees on this island over here are quite badly lit. Again, I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. It might be worthwhile removing some of the background cards there that probably aren't suitable for that actual location. I didn't have time to construct a 3D skybox, mainly because I've never done it before, and despite watching a couple of video tutorials and seeing how it's relatively simple, I wasn't about to go off on a tangent and mess around with implementing that. This is interesting to note here. This is what I believe Valve's attempt at volumetric lighting is. It's simply an object that's been placed in midair above this light. It's not genuine volumetric lighting, but as with a lot of things in games, it's smoke and mirrors, and it works quite well for what they need. I guess that's what comes with working within the limitations of such an outdated engine. Now the island itself is simply raised out of the water using the terrain editor. Basically there's a primitive which I placed down in the world and then just deformed it to my liking. The terrain editors, it can be quite frustrating to use to get the height just right, but the controls are simple, so once you figure that out, it's just a matter of, time to get things the way you want it. These trees are just static props, along with the boats. Relatively simple to insert. The house itself is, it was constructed in the source, Counter-Strike source component of Hammer Editor. Now the thing about Counter-Strike is the player's height is actually a little bit higher than in Half-Life 2. So the dimensions of the house are slightly off. I could have probably fixed that, but I wasn't going to rebuild the entire house just to get the dimensions correct. And yeah, it isn't that bad. Now upon entering this room over here, the player enters an invisible trigger which will spawn 4 zombies on the outside of the house. I didn't really think about the gameplay elements for this map. To be honest, the NPCs were added last minute because I figured the player needed something to shoot at. I figured fast zombies were appropriate considering the darkness of this map. There's a relatively simple way of setting the actual brightness and the position of the sun. In this case, I set it for nighttime. I think that was all of them. One last thing. Because I added NPCs last minute, I figured it was a good idea to show how... Ooh, there's another zombie. I thought it was a good idea to show how NPCs can be spawned by using either a trigger, such as in that room over there, or on command. This is just another example of a button. I probably spent about maybe 5 or 10 minutes implementing this, and I probably could have done better, but quite frankly, I'm sick of working on this map and I wanted to get it over and done with. So upon pushing this button, it will spawn a hunter. And I wanted to see if I could spawn repeated hunters. So if I push the button a second time, whether I can just keep having more and more. I'm not sure if there is actually a way of doing that, but I only found a way of spawning a second additional hunter. I'm sure if you messed around with the triggers enough, you might be able to come up with a way of doing it infinitely, but I can just spawn another one now. This concludes the video demonstration of a simple map constructed in Valve's Hammer editor. If you have any questions regarding Hammer or this map, please feel free to contact me via email or in person. I can also be contacted via Steam, details will be below. If you'd like to download this map, an editable or playable version will also be available via link below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Special thanks to Dustin for being distracting and fucking annoying. There'll be links to outtakes there. Also, please like and comment on this video. Any constructive criticism would be much appreciated. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your night.